Hey, what's going on, guys? Mike here, back with another video. Today's video will be discussing different ways to grow your own faction, ways to improve it, and how to start up your own faction. That being said, if you have any questions, you let me know down below, and I'll be sure to respond to many of those questions. As many of you know, I own the Timberwolves in BRM5. The Timberwolves is the largest faction to exist in BRM5, but this didn't come easy. If it was easy, everyone would be rolling around with their own big faction, and pretty much like a faction does take a lot of commitment and time, and that's why people thought it was easy for me to run the faction when it wasn't. And pretty much if it was easy, everyone would be running with their own big faction, but that's not the fact, right? So anyways, as I return to the consecration, I'll be reopening the Timberwolves back to the community very soon. So if you're interested, you can join the Discord down below. You know how to pitch it in there. But anyways, let's start it off. I'll be basing a lot of my advice from the Timberwolves and what I personally experienced from other factions, because I did actually join a couple of other factions. I was invited to a couple of their events, and it gave me a taste of what other factions were like before I actually opened up my own faction. So with that being said, let's dive straight into this. One of the first things I think is very important as a owner of the faction, or if you co-own a faction, is when you're opening up a faction, have some goals in mind when you're like opening it up, because some people aren't sure where they want their faction to be or how they want it to be. What I mean by this is, do you want it to be very military simulated, right? Do you want it to be a casual faction, or do you want to have both? The Timberwolves are pretty much more of a casual faction. Although we do include RP, we aren't very strict when it comes to like the military simulation. Because I see so many people be like, oh my god, this guy's out of line. What is he doing? This guy doesn't know what he's doing. Like, bro, like, relax. It's on Roblox. If we were so tight, like, it could have even been Arma, and I don't even think they would have cared that much in Arma. Like, let's kind of remember we're on Roblox, right? So it's like you got to make it appealing to people. If it's your goal to make it a big faction, then yeah, you got to make it kind of more appealing. But if it's not your goal to be the biggest faction, then by all means run it how you want. Run it very strict, but don't expect people to join that faction and have fun with it, right? I'm sure there's some that would have fun, but not everyone, and that's why the Timberwolves is a faction that appeals to pretty much a lot of people, and that is why we pretty much thrive when it comes to these numbers. And yeah, that's probably we're pretty successful with that, because that was my goal, is to have a nice big faction and pretty much have fun with it, right? That's the number one thing with these factions. You gotta have fun with it. So many people don't have fun with their faction, and they're just forcing people to do a bunch of stuff that they don't even want to do themselves. So you just got to remember that as tip one. All right, so pretty much for the second tip here, once you figured out your goal of the faction, right? Once you figured out, all right, maybe I want to make it more of a casual faction, maybe with a swift of military simulation, right? Now it's time to assemble a group to help you run it. So for me, my personal case, right, this is not going to be for everyone, I understand. But for what I had, is I already had a group to run with, right? I already had a certain group of people that I played the game with, and they understood the game, and that's what I used to start up the faction. Now, later on, you'll find people along the way to help recruit onto your team to help run it. It may not be off the bat. Like I said, there's people in my team that pretty much came and go, right? I started off with certain people, I let them go, and I brought in new people. It happens as the journey goes on, right? But here's the thing I have. You need to make sure that the group you run with knows what they're doing and is mature about it. I have seen, and this is from personal experience, I have seen a faction I've joined, and it was ran by, like, okay, I'm not going to say their names, but they were just complete idiots, because it was just their group of friends, and I guess that's all they had, right? You need to find people that are actually willing to put in the work, not just because, like, I see it all the time, where people will put their friend on a high-ass rank, and, like, expect them to do well. It will not work out. And I seen it in this one faction, and I did not have a good time with it. It was actually one of the first factions I joined. Never again did I go back to that, because it was just not the right group. So just pay attention to who you have as your faction staff, and be a good role model too, right? If you want to be a role model, you got to make sure you show them how to do it. You got to lead by example. And if you want them doing certain things, but if you expect them to do it all, it's not going to work. You have to show them how to do it first. So you got to do the work, and then they'll do the work for you afterwards. So that's a little tip I have for you when it comes to your group. Just find a group of guys that you're actually trustworthy, that have your trust pretty much, and then from there you could pretty much assemble a little group of yours and then go from there. But if you don't, you could do it solo, but it is going to be kind of difficult. So you may want to do, like, not crazy ideas, do some small ideas if you're running the faction by yourself, and then once you start getting some people, then you could up the workload and all that jazz. All right, so moving on to the next. Once you have pretty much a plan for yourself and you have the group of people to help you run it, it's time to pretty much incorporate your ideas. I would personally start off with a Discord server, all right? I'm pretty sure this is pretty easy to think of too off the bat, but basically everyone who's pretty much a gamer on BRM5 and that want to look for a group, they have Discord, all right? It's pretty easy to reach them. And if you create a Discord server, you can start managing that, and I guarantee, like, without Discord, like 99% of the faction wouldn't even exist. And some people would be like, oh, what about TeamSpeak? Bro, no one is going to TeamSpeak to play BRM5 and do a faction, bro. So thank God for Discord, because Discord servers come in clutch when it comes to these factions. So once you've done that, slowly start to get your events going. And this is where you can start advertising now. Let me go into this, because I have a problem with this one, actually. All right? A lot of people spam the hell out of DMs about joining your, like, faction. All right? Do not do that. That is the most annoying way you can get on people's nerves, and you will get a bad reputation. No one will take, like, the reason you're even doing that just comes off you're desperate and your faction sucks. Let's be honest here. The fact you're doing that in the first place just shows how bad your faction is. I guarantee the top factions, like the top 3, don't even have to do that. All right? You need to like think wisely on what you're doing, because I'm telling you, word gets around in the community about certain factions and this and that. You don't want to be one of those kids who are known for advertising DMs and getting banned off of servers, especially the community ones like the BRM5 one, even my community, other communities too. Don't be advertising in their community unless it's allowed, all right? Pay attention to the rules, because that's huge. But anyways, going back to advertising, one huge thing you could actually do is just talk to people in the BRM5 community. Get yourself out there. Get known in the community. And then maybe when you're having a convo with the person, maybe pitch it in there and be like, okay, so you're looking for a faction. I got one that I'm trying to start up. You want to join? Boom, right there, right? Don't just be in the server. Can anyone join my faction? Please join, and start sending DMs. No, don't do that. Have a talk with people, see if they're interested in looking for a faction, then pitch like it's like a salesman, bro. Just pitch it to them if they're looking for it. All right, like that's the best way to put it. You don't want to come off as annoying or any of that. So that's my best advice. Go out there, just talk to people in the community, get yourself out there, and I'm sure there's some people that will be willing to join you. Other than that, do some collaborations. All right, now here's a big one. All right, pay attention to this. Collab with groups that are similar in your size. Do not collab with groups that are far from you. I guarantee the answer is no, is what you'll be getting from them. All right, unless they're like a pretty similar group to you, then yeah. But in terms of size, yeah, look for people that are around your size, and I guarantee that answer will almost be a yes, because they're probably looking for the same thing too. I see it all the time where people are asking me to do some collabs, and I look at their group and it's 10 people. Like, I'm sorry, but like I worked for my members and stuff, and it's like if I collab to you, what benefit does it really do for me? All right, let's be honest here. Would you like it if you put in some hard work, right? You busted your ass to do something, and then someone comes along and leeches off your success? Like, no, like you don't want that. You look at any sponsorship in real life. It works for both sides. It benefits both sides, even in the game. I'm sure all these developers and stuff, like, they wouldn't want someone just leeching off of them like that. That's just, no one wants that. You'd be lying to yourself if you're saying, yeah, I don't care. I'd let others do that. No, you wouldn't, bro. Stop lying to yourself. But anyways, look for people around your size, and I'm sure you'll find some luck when it comes to collabing with other groups. You'll grow from there. You'll start networking. It's all that good stuff. So let's move on to the next tip. The last tip I have for you guys is, other than the collabing, other than recruiting, it's to have fun, all right? At the end of the day, it's a faction, guys. You're on Roblox. You're just trying to have some fun at the end of the day. And I think that's where a lot of factions lack. They go too overboard, and I see it in some members where they aren't even enjoying it. See, me personally, I usually like to have like a little debrief. I call it a debrief. Pretty much after that mission happens, at the end of it, we chill and we just talk about the mission, right? And like whatever event happened. And I asked them, I'm like, yo, did you guys have fun? Did you not have fun? What went well? What didn't go well? Just get feedback, because it's essential in if you want to do well. And that's why I like to hear from the members of my own faction when it comes to these events, so we know what to do for the next event and we talk about it, right? Just have some feedback, and that's pretty much it. Now, pay attention to this part, guys. This is actually pretty important, and it will actually help you out. But if you made it this far in the video, and only for this video and only in this comment section, I'm going to allow you guys to advertise your own faction. So pretty much what I want you guys to do, give it a summary and what it will be pretty much about. And then I'll like review the comment, because automatically it gets sent to like the reviews, because if it has a link like a Discord server, it'll show for you, but it won't show for everyone else, because YouTube automatically detects it as spam. So that's just a FYI for anyone who's already been spamming into comments. That's just how it works. But anyways, I'll accept it and I'll review it, and then I'll let it be posted on the video. So if you want to advertise it, go ahead. But anyways, that's all I have. If you want to see a part 2, I'll go in depth with some other tips that I mentioned in this video and some new ones. Let me know in the comment section down below. Leave a like on this video. Join the Discord down below. If you'd like to hit up the Timberwolves faction, it's opening up soon. Discord servers down below. All that good stuff. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Adios.